Well, it finally happened. The Genius Bill was put to a vote, and although it hasn't officially passed, it did kind of officially pass via a cloture vote. What does that mean, and what are the next steps, and why are projects like Aave absolutely ripping? We're going to talk about that. We also have our man Magic joining us to break down the charts. Will BTC hit an all-time high this week? What about altcoins like Ethereum, like Dogecoin? Some people are saying Doge is going to $1 very soon. The markets seem to be in an interesting spot. And we're doing something new today. We want to focus on you, the community. We got a Q&A up. So if there's any questions you want to ask, drop them in the Q&A section. And then throughout the entire show, we will go through them and we will answer your questions live. We have that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content where we take old, boring, stale information, repackage that whole thing up in a fun, sexy way. We also deliver price predictions, which we are never wrong on, ever, ever, ever. I told you we're going to be at 106,000 yesterday, and well, look where we're at now, 106,000. We are knocking on the door of a new all-time high for Bitcoin. Price discovery around the corner. How high will it go? And where is our altcoins pumping? When is that coming?
I don't know, but we're going to kick this thing off by answering Lasagna Not. Said all-time high during the stream? I don't think so.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. Take a look at the 106.2. So previous all-time high is 107. We're at an interesting point here because yesterday, or a little over 20. Yesterday we were at 106.8, and we've been here twice already. And so if you take a look, we're at 106.5 2 days ago, 106.8 today. You already know that one of the things that you want to see on a big breakout testing major resistance is to go up, hit resistance, come back down, hit resistance. Third time is a charm a lot of the time. So I would estimate that if we cross over 106 and hit the 107, I think it's off to the races. What do you think? What do you think happens if today we see $107,000 Bitcoin? Do we smack reject and come back down? Yes. Or do you think we continue on to 108?
We're down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, bro.
Wow. This is the first time we've ever disagreed.
Yeah, it is the first time.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Okay, well, something we'll definitely agree on, I think, is this piece of news. U.S. Senate officially passes a cloture vote for the Genius Act. Now, you saw some news going around saying, oh, they passed it. Not really. This essentially paved the way for a full and final Senate vote and allows 30 more hours of deliberation. It got rid of the filibuster, so no one can filibuster it anymore. And it's not up for debate anymore. And so this was like, okay, guys, are we ready to vote on this or not? You need 60 votes. They got 61. We're good to go. And so the actual final vote from the Senate, and if it passes, we'll go to the president's desk to be signed. I believe it's going to happen before the month of May is over. This is Senator Bill Haggerty. He was on Fox Business. Listen to what he had to say about the importance of this Genius Act.
We're very focused on this bill, making certain that it happens. But I'll say this. A lot of the projections, a lot of the prognosticators are pointing to a growth in the deficit, revenue shortfalls, et cetera. I'll take us back to 2017. If you think about what the Congressional Budget Office was saying, they were looking at a revenue decrease from President Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. What happened? We actually had a revenue increase. They don't capture the dynamics, as was mentioned before, tariff revenues, or I should say cost savings coming from the Doge efforts and a lot of effort that's going on within the agencies beyond Doge. I think there's a lot more to be captured here, and the Senate is looking forward to getting our teams on this and looking for even more significant cuts than the House has delivered so far.
All right, Senator, lawmakers just advanced the Genius Act, which would legitimize the stablecoin. Senator, next up, I believe, is your legislation, which is a full regulatory overhaul of crypto. You think we're going to get to... My contact in D.C. says she thinks you might get to that vote on the full bill in the first week of June. Is that possible?
I think it could be even sooner than that. I think we have broad agreement from a policy standpoint between Democrats and Republicans. We had a good evening last night, and I think there are actually a number of other folks that aren't on the bill just yet that will become supportive of it. So I feel very good about where we're going. The momentum is very positive right now. All the feedback I've had since last night has been extremely positive. So we're going to be working at pace this week, Stuart. We might even get it done this week. That would be great if we could.
Can I ask you what the stablecoin would do for our financial system?
Well, certainly it puts our financial system and our payment system more specifically into the modern times. What we rely upon today was designed in the 70s and 80s. This is a chance to completely modernize our payment system to make sure that the innovation that's happening around the entire industry stays here in America. And importantly, Stuart, because the stablecoin is dollar denominated, that will perpetuate the dollar's position, dollar's dominance as the reserve currency of the world. And it will also increase demand for treasury bills here in America, which is a good thing as well.
Can you explain that? I need to explain that. Why would it increase demand for treasury securities, treasury bills and bonds?
Because
We know the answer to that question, right? It's because one for one, it's got to be backed, and well, you want liquid cash or liquid. That's the word I'm looking for.
Liquid death.
No,
The water in a can.
no.
No.
It'll come to me halfway through the show. This is great. No, but that's what it is, and so we know the answer to that question. And after what we saw, Tether surpassing Germany as the number one holder in short-dated or short-term U.S. bonds, I think this is something that the U.S. looks at. China's dumping. Japan's probably going to start dumping. And well, here comes a brand new subset of buyers, and it's a win-win-win for everyone. It's a win for the U.S. government as to buy treasuries. It's a win for the consumer because of stablecoins. It's a win for the stablecoin issuers and the banks will be allowed to issue these stablecoins soon.
No.
And so that's pretty big. We had a Curve Dow was up big yesterday. Convex was up big yesterday. Aave up like 30% over the last 24 hours. Before we bring Magic on, Rob, what are your thoughts on the Genius Act that passed in the cloture bill yesterday? And it looks like this thing's going to be here before the month's over.
I think it's a little ambitious. The U.S. government does not move very quickly. Now, it took inauguration till today to finally get some kind of bill. Now, I know we've had some executive orders that are geared towards the adoption of crypto. We've seen the SEC basically drop all active litigation. We've also seen, rumblings of the strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. Or the bill for the Cynthia Lummis bill.
Order filled.
And so I'm pretty excited, dude. I think that once the stablecoin bill is done, I think we're going to skyrocket into new regulation. I think that around the corner will be the Cynthia Lummis bill. You're right. I mean, what do you think? Cynthia Lummis is next after stablecoin?
Yeah, or the crypto legislation bill.
Yeah. And so
Order filled.
Things are order filled. What's going on over there, bro?
Making some trades.
Of course, we're trying to do a show and you're over here actively trading.
Sorry.
Got your order fill notice on here. Okay, so you making money at least or what?
I lost.
You lost money? Of course. Yeah, awesome.
Damn it.
Thank you.
I won a couple earlier. Anyway,
Great.
So, Rocco, he's spending all the company money back there. What do you mean? What do you think?
Know that microphone that you want to buy? Bye-bye.
Yeah. No one.
I got stopped out by a stupid ass wick.
You know,
bro.
we took out a loan for the for that new LED wall in the back.
Look at this dumbass wick I got stopped out on. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. And it caught that support at the cloud.
Now look at that candle turning green.
Well,
I know. Story of my life. All right. Anyways, are you done with what you're saying? Because my boy Magic.
I don't even know what I was saying.
I don't even know what you're
saying.
saying.
You know what I was saying?
What?
Stablecoin bill good.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so
there it
good.
is.
Magic,
Wow.
welcome back to the
Professional
show, man. How you doing, brother? I don't want to keep you waiting too long because I'll lose brain cells listening to Rob. Welcome back, man. How's your week, man?
It's been good. Better than last week, so can't complain.
You get all your stuff situated?
As much as I can. Everything that's was in my hands is now out of my hands, so that's good.
Magic, you're a good man. Magic, you'll be a better man if you help me talk about Bitcoin. 106.3. We had a couple people ask a question. Will we hit an all-time high on the stream? I said no. Robin thinks if we creep back up to 107, we're going to go on all-time highs. I think we're going to get stopped out at 107. What are you seeing on the BTC chart?
So 106.8 was kind of like the local resistance that we were looking at in the group. Max had identified it, but that was just based on limit orders that were there. That said, we'll go to the chart and talk about it. So I like to look at things through the lens of prior data, as you guys know, whether it's averages or, in this case, projections of price. This is a regression tool. I've been using it for several years, and I base it on sessions like yearly, 6-month, quarterly. This is 2024. So you can see it ends right here, starts here. And if we were to use the settings that I have, this is the trajectory for what you would expect rotations wise if price remains in an uptrend going into 2025. Obviously, these do break eventually, but they're fairly well respected. We came to the lows. It was the lows of the move at the key averages as well. One would expect a rotation as long as we're above the median, which comes in much lower, right around like 100K, that kind of key level we talked about. But realistically, I don't know about this stream, but if we remain above, and we'll go over the local levels in a second, if we remain above that key support for immediate continuation, I don't see any reason why this won't make a new high. Will it get as high as the top of this channel and tag it? Because as you can see, it's never an exact number. Rarely is it exact. It's more of just a, hey, ballpark, we're looking for distributions above the average, and this would put us in outlier territory where we would be expecting, a more formal pullback on a meaningful time frame. And if we were to see something like that, it's got us, as of today, which it creeps up over time, obviously, around 114. So once you did break back above this like 97, 98K level on this nice big, green candle here, you're looking up to the upside of this. You could be more conservative with it. This is, based on different settings. But if I did more of a conservative look, you would say, okay, yeah, we're at resistance. But realistically, we oftentimes go above the norm, which is a 1-to-1 scale in this case. So I would be looking for a little bit more outside of that and looking towards like 110 to 114 and attempt at new all-time highs. Now, in terms of like where we need to hold on to, it was a really easy level to spot on the weekly. I always mark out the opens, as you guys know. This is our current week open. This is your previous week open, or the bi-weekly open in that case. You go out to the daily, you can see it's exactly what was holding you up. So above the bi-weekly open at 104 for immediate continuation, things are good. For us and the group, we were looking at this move down. I actually took this first short I've taken in a while. It was a nice profitable trade. Did not quite take this low again like I wanted to for a long, because I was hoping that the New York session would wipe these guys out. Did not happen, but realistically, your key zone was still going to be right here. This was the low that needed to hold. That's also going to be your bi-weekly 2-week average. So he's trading while I'm boring you guys to death.
Speaking of shorting, I had a limit order set from this morning, brother.
But it is one of those things where, as long as we're holding, in this case, I've moved up kind of my line in the sand. I do think that 100,000 is important, but I do think that we could move that up to about 102 for real immediate continuation. A warning sign would be losing the biweekly open at 104 locally. But if you make a move back below 102, odds are I start really looking at this as, okay, this type of a rally can go for quite a while, right? So we can see these go on and on and on, and everyone's looking for a big pullback. And the way I prefaced this candle here on this pullback to the guys in the group, when I took that short at 106, I think it was like 106.8, I said, if, we see a big sign of weakness, which obviously we held support here on this higher low basis. I mean, that's the most basic thing here. As you can see, you have higher lows in place. There hasn't been a major pullback on this entire run up. This has been pretty, sudden. Harking back to your chart that you showed me a few weeks ago, where you were like, the other 2 times this has happened, it was just straight up to the right. And when we looked at it, I said, well, that would imply that we're just going to go absolutely bananas. And so your chart was correct. It was very correct, actually. It did exactly that. So in this case, as long as we're not seeing that sign of weakness, up and to the right is the direction. However, the moment you do, you haven't had a monumental pullback. You'll see a sizable one. And I think you could see one as low as even like 87 or 88 at that time. The thing is that still doesn't actually break anything. Bitcoin has positioned itself pretty heavily that even if you came all the way back down to like a bi-monthly average, this is still fine. This is still just a higher low. And that would actually be more favorable, in my opinion, if it came down and made a higher low rather than just trying to moonshot to like 115 or 120 from here. Because if you're going to see a traditional 4-year cycle, I think that higher low would benefit, the idea of seeing those more substantial targets that people have between like 150, 180, 200, stuff like that. Otherwise, I do kind of put us in that line of like, Yeah, this is par for the course. We're looking for 101 to 124 for the top. Timing wise, we're not quite through the cycle yet, so there's still time, and Bitcoin has really proven itself here. So if there is a major pullback at any point where people are looking for an opportunity, I wouldn't be scared to be bidding 88, 89, 90 if it even reaches that. I don't know that it will, to be upfront with you. I think that you'd be more favorable in that scenario that if that happened and you don't see 114 first, that you do something like you're looking for a quarterly and bi-quarterly average at that time, a different time frame. But those are creeping up over time to the mid 90s. They may even creep up as high as 100 if this continues up through the next, few weeks to months. But when that happens, continuation is the name of the game. Like I said, when you finally get that pullback, people are going to bid. And they're probably going to bid like they have been on these short pullbacks. It's just not going to be the pullback they're looking for at that time. So I'm a little more cautious up here, but it doesn't mean I'm just going to short. Not my cup of tea. So yeah, I mean, that's the long and short of it, I guess. Bullish until we're not, but next targets are about 114, assuming, no loss of structure, which comes in around like 102.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And Magic, I apologize, man. I wasn't trying to be rude. That was an order that was placed before the show went live. And
I think it's hilarious. I like it. I think you should do more of it.
It was a little rude. I don't want to knock you off. I apologize. I love your stuff. But Magic, Ave's been just crushing it. Really today, yesterday leading into today. We'll talk about later as far as why it's pumping. But can you give us a breakdown of the TA on Ave?
Yeah. I think the only time I've ever looked at this is when you guys asked.
Yeah. I love Ave. I got a big fat bag of it.
I remember that. Yeah. So we had some pretty simple levels on this one. We were actually looking a little higher still, saying that essentially if this can hold above about 259, which is that, new yearly pivot for the asset, live above there and things are good. We only had one other line on the chart. We were just looking back to this major high here, probably from a quarterly. Yeah. It looks like a quarterly high on an SFP break. Back test, you've held it. So this will probably pump a little more. I think that realistically, these NPOCs that are expired here are probably going to get some play because you have a quarterly open. I'll go back to that. Quarterly open is here. You can see that's your settle up. And as long as you're above, probably the midpoint of this candle, one would expect to at least come up and test these closures and opens right around 312, maybe a little higher. But as long as you're holding about 260, if you can come up here, test this and hold this as support, it can make a real shot at trying to get up back into this like $430 to $459 range. And if it does that, the question becomes like, where are we at in the market? Like, what are altcoins doing? I don't know that Bitcoin dominance is going to provide us the same level of edge it used to, because as a whole, every altcoin is no longer equal. The discrepancy in quality of asset in this space is really high. Like you have your Uber shit coins, and then you have projects that are actually trying to do things. So the mainstays may actually be a little more bullish than something where I would normally just say, hey, I'm going to short this to the floor. I like where I'm at there. So I'd really evaluate what's going on here, because there's really nothing above 460 in terms of resistance before a new all-time high, in my opinion. So that's getting ahead of ourselves. Obviously, we still have to make this move up, but it's just kind of painting the picture for that. In terms of where I would get concerned on this one, I wouldn't say concern is the right word, but your big signs of weakness are going to be much like Bitcoin, where when you zoom out a little bit to the weekly chart, your last couple weekly lows here, continuation is the name of the game anytime you have candles like this. And the reason is you're really not building up any support here. So if you do see like a formal top be put in, which generally you can gauge by just taking out the low of the high here. And if it does that, you're probably coming all the way back down to like 150. And that's not the end of the world as long as that support holds, but it would catch a lot of people off guard, I think. They probably wouldn't be too happy with it. But for now, with the way the market looks, with Bitcoin showing strength, you kind of have to play the trend. It doesn't mean FOMO into this, but if you're in a position from here or somewhere else, kind of know where your targets are. And, I would have that $300 mark kind of what's the, I guess earmarked is the correct term. Yeah, I'd have that one on my radar just to kind of like gauge that if it's going to make a new high into this resistance, that this zone is going to play a factor, at least initially. So, yeah, that's obvious. It looks good. I mean, in terms of altcoins, it's hard to see them in linear. I'm kind of neutral on an asset like this one long term, and the reason is there's just not a ton of data on this chart. Maybe I'm on the wrong chart, but there's no real trend just yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot of overlapping chop. So in fact, if it breaks through this blue box up here, which was the linear scale gold pocket, you can kind of see now that we're out of linear and we're in log and looking at things through a percentage basis that, above here, if this doesn't hold as a resistance, if you're bearish on this asset, this thing is probably going to make a pretty substantial move. It's been going sideways for a while. So that's all I would know if I was an investor. I would just keep that in mind and then try to always put that and pair it with what's going on in the market. What's the health of Bitcoin, things like that. Like that's the only real for sure thing in my opinion. So you kind of have to keep an eye on it. But yeah,
Amen
chart's
to
not
that.
bad.
I talk about it on the show, but to the people out there who are majority of their portfolios in altcoins, you need to be on top of your portfolio because a lot of the projects that made all-time highs, even some that might be your favorites, they're not going back to all-time highs. And so be very selective in what you keep around in your portfolio. And then Magic, can we take a look at Dogecoin? There was there's an article here, nothing specific, but Dogecoin breakout expected within the next 7 days. What are you seeing on the Doge chart? It's the leading meme coin. Seems like people are maybe starting to go a little more risk on. What are you seeing on the Doge chart?
So Doge is one of the few that when I look at it, it's not a bad, like just straight away when you look at it's not a bad chart. Like it's a really big candle here that kind of catches people off, but you haven't even retraced 50% of it. So I'm just running through to see where some of these levels were at and what they look like now before we make any other determinations. Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Aave, kind of not. This is more flaggish, but realistically, can this one make a new all-time high? You've obviously run into some resistance right here. This is about 45.94 cents on a monthly. So this is the SFP level for me in terms of if I wanted to see a change of behavior, which we did see on Bitcoin this past week at 104. Not to go backwards here, but you can see you're not closing above here. That's your major failure, and now you have your resistance here. So you've come down to support, which was outlined here. A bunch of support, actually. Excuse me. And it actually front ran it, which is never a bad thing, but you did get several monthly SFPs kind of setting up that, hey, this is putting in some form of a reversal. Target would likely be either A, this, major failure point here, or B, would just be the yearly pivot, which it actually exceeded into that area. So in terms of how I feel about the chart, it's got resistance right ahead. That's all I'll say is this is going to probably be problematic, at least initially, because this is the area that, major selling has taken place, at least since 2021 near the high. So for me, when I see something like this, I would just say be cautious up here. Maybe outline your range a little bit more concretely than I have with just a few lines, but sometimes simple is better. You don't want to overdo it, of course. But you could very easily start saying, okay, what's my trend look like on the monthly? That's great. If we start retracing this, I know that anything below 10 cents and this thing's probably going to come all the way down to like 4. That's so well and far away when you're at 22, but when we're on log, it just it's easy to spot. So I would go to like a daily and just take a peek, take a gander, see if there's anything that really sticks out if you're looking for an entry on this, because I'm not one that will buy into a zone like this. If you are, and you have your own methods, go for it. I would never tell someone not to do something with their money because it's not my job to do that. But I would really start looking for, is there a major target that I can pick out that makes sense for me? Like an NPOC closer to 16 cents would make sense, mainly because you're leaving this low and you leave your higher low structure. But you can see that below 16 cents, if you lose this low, there's nothing between you and another 6 cents probably on a drop, which doesn't sound like much because we're talking pennies, but 16 cents, what is that with 6 cents? It's 3/8, 37.5%. It's a sizable move down for anyone holding an altcoin. Same could be said for upside, obviously, that has the same advantages with projects like this, or tokens like this, I should say. I don't know that I'd call it a project, but yeah, I would say anything under 16 cents, I get a little more concerned about the immediate, uptick in terms of what this asset is going to do in the short term. But as long as it's holding on to these lows here, 16, like the lows that you made back in April, I guess right here is when it came in on April 7th. that April 7th low, very important. If you lose that, I think that you could see a very formal retrace back into the single digits on this one. But above here, you've got resistance at 29 cents, 45 cents. It's kind of a wide zone here, but it needs to be dealt with. Like, you have to make a move back above this. So if you see a retracement out of here, don't be surprised. I think there will be some profit taking there. But anything above that, and might as well just look for $1. You know, Elon's going to tweet about it at that point. He'll get all the glory for the price, but
but
technicals are kind of.
It seems like his sway with his tweets on Doge are kind of wavering a little bit.
He's really gotten away from crypto as a whole, because when he got into it, it was just exciting because the world's richest man was in crypto.
Yeah.
But now that he's doing the whole government thing, it's one of those things where I'm not saying he's less popular now, but it's just one of those things where he's a little less relevant, I guess, in our space. So it is what it is. That's kind of the opposite effect that I thought, starting a government agency named Doge would do.
Me too.
But it's like, it didn't hurt the space by any means, I don't think. But yeah, he's probably not as impactful as he used to be, which is okay. We probably need less of that anyway. We need less people being able to impact the price to make this space a little more legitimate.
Well, that means my portfolio is not going to go up. Just kidding.
I mean, it doesn't have to mean that.
I'm just kidding. Majority of my portfolio is in freaking Bitcoin and BitTensor anyways.
That's good.
Yeah. Magic, that's all I got for you, man. You got anything for us? I never ask you. I always ask you for what I want. I never ask you what you want. Magic, do you want anything?
Very thoughtful.
No, not really. Maybe world peace, something like that. But no, I'm kidding. Not really, man. Me, I never really have anything. It's just I like coming on here and sharing my thoughts and taking feedback and going from there. So,
well, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate you as always, Magic. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week, Bitcoin conference.
You coming out?
I won't be there. I'm sorry. I didn't make any plans. I got kids and stuff. It's summer. We've kind of been doing that, and then with everything going on.
Bring them. There's daycares in the casinos. What? They have little baby slot machines.
They're a little too old for daycares. I was talking to Alex O behind the scenes about that a little bit. He was a little disappointed because I think we had talked about getting together, maybe doing some golfing or something. So, but I'll make it up to you guys. We'll figure it out.
All right, Magic. Well, we appreciate you as always, my friend, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you.
Take care. All right. I want to highlight a question here from the chat. Mr. K said, who does David's eyebrows? I do. Does Robin dabble with Ozempic? Not if you could see his gut. And what shampoo does Rocco use? Rocco, do you care to answer that question?
It's a blend. It's a secret blend.
Stop there. It's fine. That's a blend.
I don't know why, but I feel like David uses horse shampoo. I don't know.
What?
Like the
horse shampoo?
Yeah, it's like the one you get at Costco. It comes in this giant jug.
They don't sell horse
also,
shampoo at Costco.
If you are wondering, they do have baby slot machines where you can start them young.
What I'm saying.
Get them out here, get them a little bubblegum prize if you hit 777s,
Yeah.
Or you can just take the whole piggy bank because you didn't hit the jackpot.
Knowing my kid, he would break the gumball glass and just grab all the gumballs. All right. I want to share this, and we'll get back to the chat, the Q&A in a second. But first, more Americans now own more Bitcoin than gold. Look at this. 50 million Americans own Bitcoin, and only 37 million Americans, all of them being baby boomers, own gold. This is pretty telling, my friend. And think of it this way too. And I know I mention this all the time, but the amount of money, right? They call it the great wealth transfer, the 70 to 80 trillion dollars that the generation that is currently retiring and dying. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just cycle of life, right? You get old, you die. And these people have a lot of money, right? They got 70 to 80 trillion dollars in total. That's a number. And as that money gets passed down to the next generation, you can see by numbers like this that the favorable store of value asset is slowly becoming Bitcoin. Rob, what do you think? I don't know, so tell me.
That's why I'm here to tell you. Okay, so my dad, he's a big gold guy.
Huh.
Yeah, he's got just bars and bars of gold. And I'm like, hey, Dad, when are you going to buy some Bitcoin here? Like, what's going on? Which is interesting because he keeps it all in his gun safe.
Wow, way to tell people where your dad.
There it is.
Good job.
Yeah. The funny thing is that he got one of those giant gun safes, you know, like the ones that are like the size of a
you gotta drill
human
into
tall. They're like 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
But he bought it when my mom was on vacation. So she came back home and he just had it in his bedroom where a nightstand typically would be. It's this giant, like, like gun safe. She got so mad. She told me he had to return it. But the thing weighs like 5,000 pounds. So he's like, I can't return it. There you go. There's a story on gold. And yeah.
What does that have anything to do with?
You said baby boomers. My dad's a baby boomers. You said they own gold. My dad owns gold. And well, you know what? You got mad that I doxed my dad, but it is a gun safe. So try to get the gold. You'll also get the guns. There you go.
Okay. 8 more days. 8 more days. The Bitcoin conference will be in our home city of Las Vegas. Well, here are some of the speakers. Vice President J.D. Vance, the Trump brothers, David Sachs, of course, Michael Saylor, Lummis, Bo Hines, Vivek. Can you name the rest of them, Robin? Ready? Who's this guy?
I forget.
That's Seyfedin Ammous. Who's this guy? Jack Mullers. Who's this guy?
Adam Beck.
Good.
What are we doing?
We're playing a game.
They're not playing Guess Who.
Okay, fine. Who's this guy? Oh, that's Paolo Ardonio. He's from Italy, from a tether.
As if you haven't had a chance to get
I still
your
can't believe
tickets-
Rocco said he used a blend for shampoo.
Why? You
I don't
want
know.
the
What
secret
is
recipe?
What is that?
It's like, I don't understand. That was like 10 minutes ago, dude.
It's just weighing on my mind,
It's
Rocco.
like I don't know. He's Italian. Think of blend. I feel like it's like olive oil and canola blend. You know, like
That's the recipe,
a
right?
little bit of
Sardine oil.
all right, look. If you haven't got your Bitcoin tickets yet, Bitcoin Conference, Las Vegas, get your tickets. It's next week. They've already sold out of the whale passes.
They did?
Yeah, the whale passes are all sold out.
I did.
And so now you have just the regular admission and what's the tier above
Industry.
industry pass. So you do get 10% off if you use our code OLA, O-L-A. But come hang out with us. We'll also be having a rendezvous or a meetup as well at the cigar bar at the Resort World Hotel. And so come hang out with us. But buy a ticket. Obviously, you're going to be in Vegas. Buy a ticket, use our code, come hang out with us. Let us know you bought a ticket. We'll reach out to you, give you a date and time on the meetup. But conference is cool, man. And it's a good excuse to come to Las Vegas. There you go.
So these were like $400. So you have that. You have the industry pass, the Nakamoto pass, the after party, and then as Rob mentioned, the whale pass is sold out. But you can still. What is a Nakamoto pass?
I don't know.
Bitcoin. Okay, all 2025 parties plus 2-hour premium bar, ticket to America 2250 reception, car service from the airport. Oh. I don't know. Maybe you hit a 100x on a $210 position and you have enough money to buy a Nakamoto ticket, or you can just buy just a regular festival pass. Either way, buy a ticket. We had a comment from the chat. It was Fade and TradFi say, can we bring up DeFi Llama, ETH versus Solana? Fine. Here is DeFi Llama, ETH versus Solana. Let's take a peek. So on the left is Ethereum, and I'll actually make this bigger. And just comparing the two, right? TVL, ETH has Solana by a 5x, more than a 5x, like a 6, 7x. Fees, 1 million for ETH, 1.68 for Solana. It's pretty dead across the board, including revenues about the same. I'm trying to make this bigger, but I can't. App revenue, Solana has ETH on app revenue by 3x. Volume's the same. Perp volume is the same. And then obviously the big market cap divide there. You have 86 billion versus 300 billion. And you look at this, Robin, and you look at some of these numbers. You look at TVL, and you say, which one of these is more undervalued at current price? $86 billion Solana market cap or $300 billion Ethereum market cap?
Dude, the fact that Solana is at where it is on price, you have Bitcoin knocking on the door of all-time highs, about to be in price discovery, and yet you got Solana still waiting to break out you had a breakout from ETH, and you go back on the 1-year chart, and it's right at the same spot. So a year ago today, $170. A year ago, or today, is 170. So basically, we've been flat. We haven't really seen much. So we're expecting a big breakout. If you compare it against Bitcoin, I know you just compared it. You compared ETH Solana, but compare against Bitcoin, you can see that it wasn't too much of a deviation until the last 6 months, and you've really seen Bitcoin take off. You have a 45% swing on BTC versus Solana. So if you've held Solana in the last 6 months, last year, you're at a loss. I would say the breakout is coming, and that's off the back of what we've seen ETH do. Now, ETH was in a very similar situation, but even worse, right? If you go back on the 1 year for Ethereum, and then you go down, you compare this against Bitcoin, you'll see that you had a very similar situation where ETH was underperforming Bitcoin, but you look here at the last month, you see that you finally had a breakout on ETH. And I think the same is going to hold true for Solana. And as much as I don't want to say it, is that, crypto flows in bigger to smaller caps. Biggest one, obviously, is Bitcoin. Second, ETH. And then after that one runs, you get the altcoins. And who's going to be next in line? What's the next big layer one outside of Ethereum? It's got to be Solana. And so I would expect maybe not this week, maybe not the next month, but I think that there's going to be a big breakout of Solana. And I would say that this $160 Solana, grossly undervalued, I would expect it to see in $600-700, and I think that happens pretty quickly. Something similar to what we saw at XRP, where it went from 50 cents to $2.50, $3. I think that you see the $150 Solana shoot up to $600-700. What do you think about a big swing like that? Do you think that's in the cards for Solana, or do you think it's steady, sustained growth? You see 200, you see 250. A couple months later, you see 300. A month later, you see 400. Or do you think we get that XRP pop off where it goes from 150 to that $500?
No. Okay, so
I think you get the big swing. That's my stance.
I don't. So Solana was down at $15, $10, or what did it get?
It was at $20 during the bear market bottom.
And we all knew it was undervalued. We all pointed to FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and Alameda, and we knew exactly why it was down. It was super undervalued, and Solana just ran. XRP, 50 cents. We all knew it was undervalued. Look at all the partnerships. Look at what they do. They're launching a stablecoin. They have all these partnerships. And we knew why the price was down, because of the SEC, and that thing rallied hard. I don't think Solana's at a place now where people are like, oh my God, $170 is so undervalued, they're going to bid on it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's more of a slow and steady growth. I'd be more curious to find one altcoin that is in a similar spot to what XRP and to what Algorand's at. I don't know what that altcoin is in that spot, but I don't think it's Solana, man. I really don't. I mean, we're talking about 3xing a $80 billion market cap project in a short period of time. I just don't think there's enough liquidity to do that. And I don't think the money sloshing around in crypto is enough. And I don't think the users and the dApps, no matter what they're doing, I don't think it's enough usage to push the price that high that quickly. So before we move on, I do want to give a big thank you. Today's show is brought to you by Stake.us, and well, it's the #1 social casino in the entire world. And if you're a member of the United States of America, you can sign up for an account using our link in the description. If you're not from the United States of America, if you still use our link, it'll take you to the main website. Either way, we'll be doing a video this week on some of the new games, and we're going to be doing a pretty big giveaway. So make sure to stay tuned on that. In the meanwhile, sign up for an account, buy some gold coins, have some fun, play some Plinko, you might win, or rock, paper, scissors, one of the new games. Either way, we appreciate
Or you can play craps, which, by the way, if you guys aren't aware,
we know.
Crap master. I've rolled 77 sevens
you are
in a
crap
row
master. You
here down the street of Caesar's Palace.
Nothing
So
but crap comes out of your mouth. Anyways, I do want to highlight another comment here from our community. Nathan Lowmaster said, do you consider Bitcoin a tangible asset?
I mean, what What is less tangible?
The way I define tangible is, can I hold it in my hand? You know what I'm saying? So to that, no. But tangible, like I can pick up my phone. It just depends. If you're like, I don't know, if you're over the age of 55, and I'm sorry to pick on this age group, but you're used to having things in your hand, right? When I buy gold, I have it in my hand. When I buy silver, I have it in my hand. When I buy a bond certificate in the 1950s, that certificate was in my hand. Now everything is digital, and some people don't like that. I don't mind. I don't care. I've gotten used to it. 98% of all currency revolving around the world is digital. Less than 3% of it is in cash. Okay. So to me, I see it as tangible, but from the definition, the answer, in my opinion, is no. I think you're pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I stopped trying to think about like, there's always that it's not real money, it's fake, I can't hold it. If I can't see it, it's not real. It's at the same time, like, I mean, how many things do you buy in life that you don't physically hold? I mean,
my wife, I haven't held her in a long time. Just kidding.
Like the shampoo in a,
Yeah, like the
in a
shampoo.
gallon.
Jimbo said, David and Rob, what crypto do you identify as? I'll go first. I identify as Chainlink. Why? I'm important, but very undervalued. People don't put all their money into me. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I figured Chainlink, it's just, it facilitates everything in the world. Well, I'm that guy. Rob, I think, is more like Bonk.
Bonk? That's funny though.
I'm just
Yeah.
Would you like to identify as a crypto, Robin? Your month is coming up next month, June. Big month.
what is June? What?
I'm not going to say it. You should know this, bro. Anyway.
I'll go with Walrus coin. That's me. So I'll go with that one.
Tell me what Walrus does, Robin. He has no idea. Anyways, we'll take maybe one or two more from the community. So there's a Q&A tab. Drop your questions in there. We want to make it more of a habit to interact with you guys because, well, we do the show for you. So, okay, let's talk about this. So we went over the Aave chart with Magic, but a couple of things. Why is Aave pumping? We know the number one leader in DeFi. Aave might benefit from the Genius Act. And so, again, we saw the other large stablecoin providers like CurveDAO, Convex Finance, Asymmetry Finance. We saw them rally. Now, those have drawn back a little bit, but Aave's continued its growth. And again, this Genius Act, which eases crypto regulation in the US and makes it less hostile to DeFi and stablecoins. And you take a look at this. Aave now holds 20% of all DeFi TVL. That is massive, okay? Think about it. All of DeFi, Robin, which I know this number is not 100% accurate, but we're talking $115 billion and 20% market share to one project, which is Aave. I have been bull posting about Aave. You guys know how bullish I am on this project, and those of you that are part of our Patreon know exactly where this project stands in my portfolio and how much I've allocated to it. But Rob, Aave's sitting at, and let's take a peek at where the market cap of Aave is for a project that has a 20% market share of a $115 billion asset class, has a market cap of only $4 billion. Sounds fairly low to me. You think this thing is undervalued at a $4 billion market cap?
I think what you're going to get out of Aave is a big short-term rally candle. I just don't know if you're going to get, let's just say $1,000 Aave for a long period of time. I think that Aave gets to $1,000. I think it goes from the $3 billion market cap, gets up to 10, 11 billion, puts it right outside the top 10 for where market cap stands at the moment. Obviously, as we progress into the bull market, the market cap in totality for all of crypto is going to go up. But
that's only a $20 billion market cap, by the way.
For what's that?
For a $1,000 Aave.
Yeah, but I mean, a $20 billion market cap is still at 11 on the market cap list. So it might not sound like a lot, but there's only 10 cryptos that are above $20 billion. And 2 of those are stable coins. And so there's only realistically, what's that?
I was going to say that's true.
Yeah. So you only have eight cryptos out there that are over $20 billion. So for Aave to get there, it really needs to get some more adoption than it has now. It needs to have more use case and utility. Aave just needs to be flying off the shelves as far as DeFi and users. And my concern there is we've seen a movement over to Solana, and Aave is an Ethereum-based, project. And so for me, I think Aave gets its day in the sun. I think that Aave does rally. I think that we do get to $1,000. But I think what happens is you see Aave pump to 400, 500. Perhaps it gets that nice green candle, gets to 1,000, and I think it sells off. I think at that point, it maybe hangs out there for a couple weeks. We've seen it time and time again with these community-based projects that'll rally, get to a nice price discovery, and then pull back. And so I would say Aave to 1,000, then Aave back down to $400. And I think that all happens within the next 12 months. Can you time the market? Perhaps. So it's not my favorite play for this bull market, but I do think that it's going to make a lot of people money. So if you do buy Aave and you want to swing trade it, I think $1,000 or right around there is my DCA out position there.
Well, here, and I'll just add, if you think that 1,000 is the top, my recommendation would be to DCA out a little bit before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it can go over $1,000. I do. That's all I got. That's it for the show today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will be going live in about an hour to do some TA. I'll share the trades I was doing. I had some in the morning. The NASDAQ is currently tanking. Take a look at this. So try to put some more trades in during the show. We put in a few yesterday. So if you want to try to make some money with us, come join us in about an hour right here on the show. And with that being said, Rocco! Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you. On behalf of myself, Robin, and Blended Shampoo, Rocco, we look forward to welcoming you back tomorrow. We love you guys. Until next time.
Ciao a tutti.
SINCITY, crypto, everybody know we here for entertainment and info, gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in, for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David, I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners, special shout out to the well members. Buy dip, sell winners, ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors, they gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin, and sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya, to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting folks